Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Manga and Anime Podcast. This is Manga Monday, hot off the presses, as we have been the past couple of weeks, and this is a Luke Hollywood pick. But first off, I'm here with Luke Hollywood. What up, Luke?
Late night, Luke Hollywood.
Oh, my. You are a gem, a new gem sound there. Late night, talking about the mangas and the polar opposites and the nonsense. You just ended up telling me, this is a banger. And then you looked at the comments. Ooh, not a lot of comments.
They just don't know about it yet.
Yeah, well, maybe they will now. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. All I need to ask you, do you have a pencil? Luke, because we're going to be going into this here. But before we do go into it, please go over to the Twitters at Weird Manga. Follow us, we'll follow you back. And then go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/WeirdScienceManga. All of these links will be in the show notes in our campsite bio. And you just click on that and it's all there. You get to listen to everything go. And if you do go over to our Patreon, you get early access to a bunch of Manga Monday shows just like this. A lot of bangers on that one. And also some early access to each week's manga reading clubs. We end up doing those all in a batch. They come out there and then you know, earlier in the week. And so, but we're here for a reason. I'm ending up like we were talking for a while beforehand, and somehow I'm now deathly allergic to something down here in the basement. I am starting to get all stuffed up, sniffy, and I have to sneeze. But tell them what we are talking about this week.
Well, I think you're allergic to wholesomeness, Jim, because this week we have
hand-holding, maybe?
Oh, maybe some school shenanigans in there as well. I don't know about this. Oh, boy. But we have this week the hot and cold off the presses. You and me are polar opposites, because that's where the cold comes in, because it's the North Pole.
Oh, is that why the pole? I thought you were just saying that Tani was a little bit cold in this, because there's no way you're not saying that Suzuki is a firecracker.
Whoa.
As we go, right?
You see that school bag? Oh, my goodness.
I know, really. I mean, you end up... Now... You end up starting this. Is there a lot of info about this?
Surprisingly not. You can imagine with only 92 comments. It was 91, but recently there has been a recent
I'm sure there's a banger of a comment that probably isn't even allowed through.
Get them like buttons going. But it was written and drawn by Kocha Agasawa, Jim. Oh my goodness. First published digitally by the Jump Plus on May 2nd in Japan and on the Manga Plus, which is what we're reading on it. The Manga Plus joint on June 19th with 2 chapters, and since then 2 chapters dropping every week on the Sundays. I'm up to date. Not to toot my own horn or anything.
Oh my God, you're going to toot your own horn, are you?
Indeed, there's my horn there. But previously, Kocha Agasawa has written a one-shot of the same story. And according to this very color page that we're about to get started, it was a super massive
hit I saw.
Rom-com. So I mean, I don't know like what they're saying down at the rec center, but if it is a super massive hit, you think there'd be more than 92 comments.
You would think so, wouldn't you? Any of the comments? Did you read the comments? Are people excited that this is actually coming and being translated, or is it just kind of like, I like it, or it's like this or whatnot?
Nothing. I have my ears to the pulse of the manga streets, and I didn't hear nobody talking about this.
But you like it.
Center. But I think it's a banger, and I've seen nothing but good things since it's come out. So I think everybody's enjoying it.
I like it. It's not going to be one of those things that are going to blow your mind or anything, but it's a nice replacement for some of the things that have ended, like a Don't Blush, Sakame-san, that we ended up really liking. On the first color page there, it does say, energetic Suzuki and quiet Tani, their love story is only just beginning. I'm glad. It would be kind of a stupid thing to have it end. I guess you could have an ending to be the start. I don't know. But you end up where you start off, and that color page, I don't really love when they end up getting it really crowded with nonsense in the super massive hit rom-com, the title, and then the description.
It's very busy. And I think like the colors are a bit zany. I will say though, the color page so far we've had like a color page on nearly every one of the chapters that have dropped so far. Very funky color pages. I mean, like,
this one's a funky
Wallpaper City. I'm telling you, there's some funky ones.
I hate when they get it a little crowded. And a lot of times on the Manga Plus deal, they end up doing that, or the Jump Plus deal, because it's always that little Like, come on, everybody. They think they need that extra push to get you to
have
read.
To add in the little comments. Right?
Yeah, I didn't need
the comments.
No, I don't need that. Well, you started off and you end up getting Suzuki, one of our main characters, right away,
Jen.
who is going on and on about mascara and her eyelashes. And she says that she doesn't like the fake eyelashes. She doesn't need extensions. Gals should do the regular eyelashes. And the funny thing is, as she's doing this, you end up seeing that she's talking to a couple of the other girls. One of the girls looks like she might be younger, looks smaller. And throughout this whole deal, it seemed like she, at first, might have had some followers. Like, she'd have people, like, hangers on.
She's definitely in, like, the cool
But she's in the cool group, but she's also, like, following them as well. Once we see, she's not really as cool as she presents and tries to, go with what she's supposed to be like. This idea
stick
of,
to the status
the
quo.
gal. Yeah, and there is one point where she even says, why do I stick to the status quo? I started singing the song from High School Musical, and I'm like, I'm going to make a creme brulee. I like the hip-hops.
Oh, my goodness.
I played the cello.
Where's the cellos?
So you end up having all of this, and then she ends up, just as an aside, what do you think, Tani-kun? And you do see this guy looks very straight-laced, looks very plain, very normal. He looks over and says, like, how would I know? Now, this is the setup here. First off, this kid has glasses. He's already sus.
Sus from day one.
If we had a video, I wear glasses.
Me too.
So I know. That's why we know there's sus.
Big time sus. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
He has glasses. And then you end up where you have this guy like, how would I know? And then she starts laughing. There you go again, just as cold as ever.
Whoa.
And she's laughing, and they're all kind of laughing about this. The play here, though, that I like, and that is different, is that normally what you would have here would be full out the guy would be the point of view character who's, oh, man, I wish that they would get to know the real me's. And, ooh, look at that, and might even be mad. But you would have that play where the girl, Suzuki, would be like aloof and nasty and she's not. I mean, that's why I think that this works.
We get it all from her the whole time. That's the nice twist.
Yeah. Or if you had it for her, I mean, just a generic type of thing like this, you would end up where one of her friends would be like, I bet you couldn't get Tony to date. Like, there'd always be something of a push of why, I need to get some grades better. It's not like that. Even like My Dress Up Darling and things like that, you always have that thing that has to happen to get the two. No, she actually, and almost feels like she's making fun of Tani at the beginning, but then we find out very quickly that she likes him, but it's not done in like any sort of nasty way. It's not done in anything like sus or anything. She just really likes him and actually admires him because he doesn't do anything that he doesn't want to do. And she starts saying, hey, the real truth, because she starts talking to herself and like, oh my God, I'm always bothering you with these things. And it does seem like the one girl's like, why do you always ask Tani stuff that he's not into? Because she's, talking about half the things she's not into. She's just talking to these people to keep the status quo. So when she does end up talking to him, you get a lot of layers in this in a weird, wacky way.
It's pretty, for something like so cutesy and fun, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, because again, you get the don't blush kind of vibe at one point, but you also get like
there's more layers than don't blush, you know?
Yeah, and I think you even get a Comey can't communicate kind of deal too, because that's the way that she can talk. She just wants to talk to him. The only way she can talk
to him is through this method of kind of bringing him in, and it's not making fun of him, but it kind of seems like that.
But it's the way for him, even when he just says, oh, why would I know? I'm not into that. Like, that seems like she's desperate just to have that. Now, with all of that, by the end, you actually see, and I think that it's a good play that ups the ante. Tani actually enjoys this, and he's not enjoying it in a bad way. It's not like he enjoys because that's just the way they talk. So when
he's got used to it.
I'm telling you, there's a really good layer play that I hope I remember. I don't want to say it right now. It'll make more sense later. But the idea of this back and forth is a very constant for both of them. It gets a little screwy, and it throws Tani off really bad at the one point. But you end up having her say, you know what, I really admire Tani. And she's just staring at him. I mean, he's probably like, what the heck is going on? But he does not change the way he is when he's with different people. He could be with the cool kids. He could be with the jocks. He could be with whatever. And he doesn't change. He does not end up talking, like, he doesn't end up being afraid to say something to anybody. He's always going to say his own thing.
The funk.
Yeah. And so you end up where she says, I'm really drawn to that. That's something that really gets me. And it's just, I'm telling you, it's just nice. And then when you keep going, it just keeps going with the deal where I just like that Tani just answers things and he just doesn't care what he says. And at the one point, you end up with like, well, does he really even like this? Like, do you care? And he's just like, it's fine. I don't mind. Like the idea of like
and
talking to him.
She's so happy. Like, it's just like, he just said, no problem.
Because all these other girls are like, hey, Tani, don't you get it irritated? Like, no, it's fine. She can ask me questions. I don't mind. And that's the thing throughout this too. It's funny because he does do things and say things. And at points she thinks that he's not being real, but she's already said he's always real. Ooh. Luke, he's always So you end up where, she says, I get caught up in everything that anybody says. I go with what they think I should be. And she says, I do this only so the way I can act without giving myself away. Because she says she's kind of a nerd. She doesn't want to be looked at as a nerd, so she goes with what everybody else does. On. No, she might have them. She does, though, in a sus way, sit on that toilet for a little. I was a little odd. But you end up where she's going off. And again, it's like that whole cool clique. Hey, you want to go get yourself the burgers? They're like, yeah. I love these kids are just like, look at them just cheering that they're going to go get the burgers.
King of Burger, the KOB.
She's like, I really don't want to. But everybody's going, so she has to cheer. Of course, let's go. Yippee! And they're all yelling. I'm like, I've never seen anybody go for burgers like this. But hey,
this is KOB.
They are into that KOB. And yeah, when they get there, it's like, hey, who do you want to date? Ooh, I like the K-pop idols. Oh, really? I don't. They'll never be able to date you. Oh, my God, what's going on? And yeah, she ends up just laughing and going along with it. That's where she says, I'm sticking with the status quo. Dun, 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 dun. You could just start dancing around. And it is their eating. So it's almost like the lunchroom. We could do it.
Yeah, and then this guy says he likes to make the creme brulees. They all laugh at him. Oh, my goodness.
They're laughing. Oh, my God, what are you doing? Just because Troy likes to sing. I mean, the guy just wants to sing and play basketball, right?
What's wrong with
so
that?
She ends up where she gets really tired. She goes to like... all this is wearing her out, she says, and she's just like, I got to get out of here. I got to go off and do my deal. And she runs into Tani.
While she's yawning. Oh, geez, not cute at all.
And that's, again, she thinks that she's got to put up these appearances and things like that, but he doesn't care. And again, they make it so that he's a little rough around the edges. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's ugly or anything, right? But his hair's kind of messy. He's got the glasses.
What's hiding behind them glasses?
What makes you tick, Tani?
Ugly Betty.
She's all that. You got the his regular, just normal clothes and things like that. But she ends up running into him, and she stammers. And it's weird because this is a little bit different than what they're like. They talk every day, but they don't really talk. It's like
Not
that
alone.
deal of and. All the deal is, the gossip. Hey, Tony, what do you think about the Black Pigs? And he's like, I don't care about them. What am I, Jim?
They have a format for talking.
Yeah,
this is something
and it kind of goes against it. And she stammers like, yeah, what are you doing still here? It's super late. Man. And then everything she's doing. Oh, my face wasn't cute then. Oh, my God, what's going on? And they stumble into saying, hey, you want to head out of here together. She does end up pushing the conversation. Mm-hmm. He's not one, it seems, to really talk it up. He just likes
But he ain't shutting it down either.
No, he responds to her. And then she's like, oh, my heart's going to explode. And you do end up having a tension here because at this point you don't know that he likes her. You think that he's going to be
like, you don't know anything about this guy.
Whatevs, right? And she's like, oh, my God, my heart's going to explode. You want to head out of here? Yeah, okay. And so they go. And then again, she kind of goes with her deal. She is, and it's the polar opposites. She is a blabbermouth. She is.
Chatterbox.
Yeah. And he ends up being somebody who just likes to listen. He just listens. And she's like, Oh my God, we went to KLB, right? I mean, they had this burger. It's like, it doesn't really mean anything, but that's the point. The burger doesn't even fit on the bun. Can you imagine that? It's so big. Oh, was it okay? Was it good? Oh my God, it was great. And she's so emotional. She's like so over the top with her emotions, and then ends up always getting upset because she thinks she's gone too far. She thinks she doesn't look cute. And then she stops. And this is where I really did like this, where she starts thinking, because he's not really saying much of his own. And she's like, is he just being polite? Is he just talking to me just because, we're here or whatever? But she says, Tani-kun's not that kind of guy. That is the best part of that, is she realizes, oh, yeah, he doesn't fake the funk. So, okay, and then, but you're going through her the whole time, and it is that fun deal of like, I need to say something. I got to do something. She's kind of a bit embarrassing the way that she's going, but her heart's racing, and she ends up accidentally, or maybe not, rubbing against his hand.
Oh.
And then, look at the flinch that she does there. And just that reaction. Now we have don't blush. I mean, she is blushing away. Oh my God. And then he just like looks, but he grabs her hand, Luke.
You see, he makes the move. I mean, like,
he holds her hand. It's weird because normally this would be like, what the heck? Look at hands over here. But it actually isn't creepy. It's actually very, very nice.
Cute, very cute. And like they just, because she was talking about going to the burgers. Maybe you want to get the burgers. He said, yeah. And now they're holding the hands. Oh,
they set up a date over it, like in a weird way of their deal.
Just like that.
And then she says, oh my gosh, am I dreaming? He's holding my unbelievably sweaty hand.
Oh no.
Just like Eric. He's got the sweaty heads. Ends up where her heart's beating. And she's like, oh my God, this is great. Oh my God, I'm going to die. All that. And then they do end up where they're going to turn and they hear some kids or whatever. And he pulls away the hand, or it seems to be, right? It's hard to tell a lot of times, but it seems like they stop holding hands because they do hear somebody. So what is going on here? Is this going to be like summer lovin', like Grease?
Secrets.
Right? Is this secret after school lovin' going on? Because who knows with that. But she then says, and I do like this because you don't want to keep going with, we got enough. So she says, oh, my mom went blank after that. I don't even remember how I got home. And then she fell asleep on her porch in front of the door, which is crazy.
She can't process any that just happened.
She's having some problems here because then she ends up going in and she goes to sleep. Like she eats and then goes to sleep. And like, oh my God, is he the one who did it? Or does he like me? Oh my God, I'm never going to be able to go to sleep. Oh my God, all this. She ends up waking up the next day and it's late. She overslept. This is not something she does. And I like that there's really cool ways that things are explained in this that then play off. And that's what I was talking about earlier that we'd get to. She says at the point, my perfect attendance is done. Like she has never, ever missed a day of school. She's never been late ever.
She might be in the popular kids group, but she's a smart cookie.
Here's the deal. That's where I think that you end up the Japanese culture deal different than us. I actually think that, again, when I went to school in the U.S., it wasn't really cool to be in 17 clubs, right? No. It wasn't like that. Sports different, but clubs, that wasn't. But yet in Japan, in the school, that's the big rage. Thing. I mean, it's all the rage. I do believe that, actually having perfect attendance is probably pretty cool there because it's you doing what you're supposed to do and all that. It's not like Ferris Bueller here, but she kind of becomes it for a day. But she wakes up. Oh, man, my perfect attendance. Oh, man. And her mom left her a note.
Sus mom.
Yeah, sus mom leaves her a note and the breakfast. And you end up, Suzuki's like, why couldn't you have just woken me up? But I get the idea that if we would have seen it, she would have probably said, well, you know what? She probably overdid it. She needs some sleep today. That's what.
Sweet
if
dreams.
I end up sleeping late, like Tanya, my wife, it's not even my mom. Oh, well, that's your body. No, I'm like, no, I just didn't hear the alarm. And now I'm behind. But yeah, she ends up talking about this and like, oh my God. And she is right here. And some of the kids in school even point out, though, there's no real reason to rush now because you are already late.
She's like really late. It's like she ain't going into lunchtime late.
Yeah, and she's eating her breakfast, and I like it's the type to calm down after she realizes that it's already late. She still does go to school. At points when I was younger and went to school, whatever, if this happened, I would have just stayed home.
No, you like, what are you going to miss? PE? No.
She wants to go to PE, but then she's distracted.
She wants to see the Tiny Coons. Ooh.
And he gets some friends.
And we have like this is the gang, this is the KOB squad that was here earlier on. And we don't know, like the jury's still out if they're gems at this stage. We don't know because they're hanging out. We know Suzuki is a gem, but they're hanging out, they're just chatting up. And then, this kid comes along and he spills, bombs drop whenever he comes in. He says, you and Tani, are you guys dating or what? And oh my goodness, Suzuki's mind explodes. This kid, he just says it offhand. He doesn't mean anything by it, but he doesn't know that him and Gapacho are about to explode.
My bud Gapacho? He ended up seeing you. I'm like, who the heck is this Gapacho? Somebody slept. The funny thing, though, is when she looks sad, like there is a hint, and I'll go back to you then, but he does look a little concerned because she's like, huh? And I think he's like, what? Well, what's wrong? I mean, my buddy Gapacho, that guy don't lie.
Gapacho's on Front Street.
He's there. And so he's a little confused, but I like the deal because you get her thoughts, and my buddy Gapacho, who the heck is Gapacho? Like, I haven't heard about this guy ever. She freaks out.
Because she knows, like, this is a very delicate stage that him or she and Tani are in right now. They probably feel the same way, but nothing's set in stone yet. So, they are balancing on the edge, and Gapacho's going to ruin it all.
There's Gapacho. And that's the point here. This is the thing. Like, usually, again, and we've seen this in movies, television shows, everything. When she ends up doing this, the whole play is that Tani gets it. Like you said, if she says, "Oh yeah, we're dating," that might make Tani like. I don't think she's being mean or even trying to hide that much.
She's still processing all this.
Like if I say, "Oh yeah, he's my boyfriend right now," that may end up ruining it. Because she even says, like, oh my God, like this has just started. I don't know what it is. And she's trying to figure out how to say this. And I'm telling you, sus kid here, look at his reactions. They're so great. He's just like, at this point, he's just like, what? Like, he doesn't know what he's done. He's like, oh my goodness. And when she says, like, okay, well, we were holding hands and we did do this.
Which bit did Gapacho see?
And all she says, it's not what you think, because I think the whole play is not just, oh, that's not my boyfriend. Maybe it is, but I'll tell you, just to get everybody on board here, it doesn't last that long. Like, it's not like this is going to ruin things for 10 chapters.
But it's pretty dramatic
but when she says it's not what you think, and then it's his desk that she's like hitting at, and he's the other guy, Gapacho's buddy, sitting there.
He just
it's
walked
funny that
in.
we know Gapacho. I don't know this guy. Tani walks in and hears this, but I think that she just wants to say, in my heart of hearts, it's not what you think. We just started talking like that when we were holding hands because we do like each other, but we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, you know what I mean? I'd like to think that, but maybe she
just doesn't
like,
get to explain it.
Yeah, and then Tani walks in and he's like, oh no, by the way, I got to get my book out of my desk because we're changing the classrooms. And they're like, oh no. And then I like Suzuki. This sucks. Because he just like looks and walks away. He doesn't say anything to her. He just walks up.
But you can kind of see, like, he does have the stony expression, but he does look a little bit sad.
I mean, yeah, he does. And he doesn't say like...
He's got the poker face, but he looks a little sad at the same time.
Thought he was going to be like, what up? What up there, Suzuki?
Jeez.
Then again, you think of that. That's not really him, right? So we have to see, and you get worried because then she goes, and her friends say, why'd you even come here? You know, the day's almost over. There's 2 hours left. Didn't want to miss the PE class. And then she's not very good just to point out.
PE is ruined.
Yeah, just to point out more badminton. What the heck is going on with this?
Blue boxes
Japan
on the
is
here.
Badminton crazy it is.
Oh my goodness.
She ends up and they're in class next to each other. And they're now not doing anything. I do want to say that I love her face there looks like almost straight out of high school family. Almost with Haruka. Looks very much like when Haruka gets upset at people. It made me giggle.
Because this is their time. Usually in the classes, they'd be chatting up. But now, and surrounded by all these people, she doesn't know what to say. Keeping up appearances, she doesn't know what to do here.
No, and she wants to say something, but she can't. She's like, all these people, what should I do? But who says it? And this is when you almost get your heart broken.
I'm telling you, this is gut-wrenching. You turn the page, and then he taps her on the shoulder, and obviously she's very shocked by this. And he says, just forget about yesterday. Sorry. Oh
like
my
really
goodness.
Sad. And now he just thinks, oh, I ended up thinking it was like, oh, it's weird because we know she isn't mean. We know that she likes him. And then says that, and it's so, like, you think that this is going to like, oh man, now we're going to get 20 chapters of nonsense. And then her friends come up with, the KOB crowd. Whoa. KOB crew. Now they're the Popcorn Club.
Popcorn City.
Hey, I love this. I got a coupon for the popcorns. It expires today. I'm like, what? What is that?
Where do you get that popcorn
coupon? One free popcorn. And they go off, oh man, popcorn. And they are all cheering, popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. And she ends up like trying to why? She doesn't want the popcorn. She wants the Tani. And she yells. And that's what I like. She doesn't then say, no, I'm going to go home. No, she just kind of sits there. They're all gathered, and she says, I like Tani-kun. And this is the big page turn. And in fact, this is what makes this chapter, and this already for me, is that immediately you end up where she goes and you see the reactions. The kid, that ended up ruining it pretty much. He has a smile on his face. Like, they are all excited. And she says, I got a major crush. He's like, huh? And then she says, so yesterday I asked him if he would walk me home. Is there something wrong with that? And then
she's blushing.
I love this because then he's sweating, this kid. And then he goes, and then he screams out, why didn't you tell us this from the start? I just thought you bumped into each other. I didn't think it was real. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. You better go catch him. Like, this is the thing in a movie. If this was one of those classic, like She's All that sort of movie like that, this is usually the last scene. This is usually the end of the movie.
This is the climax.
Yeah, the girl or guy almost blew it because somebody overheard, oh, I don't really like them. It's one of those. And then they realize, oh my God, I got to go catch them before they take the plane to Greece or wherever they're, all that. So you end up running and trying to get them. But this is only the first chapter. That's what I like. You almost get the whole tropey deal.
We get the full movie in one chapter.
Yeah, one chapter, and then see what goes. Because they say, and this makes, especially that kid, the gem of the year almost. He may be. I mean, his buddy is still a jerk, but he's pretty cool. And yeah, like, oh my God, you got to go catch him. Go, run, hurry up. He's just screaming at her. I like to when she starts running and go run, Suzuki, live up to your name and show us some speed because the motorcycle deal, whatever.
And then she goes, va-va-vroom.
Yeah, she says, va-va-vroom. And then he yells, or somebody else actually goes, too slow. Get going. Like, all right. And then when you look, you see, and they're yelling, show us what you're made of. Go for it. I'm telling you, what I love about this is this should have been, normally 80 chapters down the line. This would have been the big payoff that we've been waiting for. Remember, Don't Blush. That was the big thing. You had to wait months and months to just get a little thing. This is so funny that, again, I don't know how it went because this is being serialized from that, one shot. Is this the one shot being redone? Because it certainly feels like it could be that one shot that's just the rom-com deal. Go get him. Show him what you're made of. And she runs off. Room and goes off. And then she says, expressing my true feelings could be this easy. And I like that. She's realizing just what she could end up doing. Now we end up going to a weird play here the way I didn't realize we would do.
Tani.
We go back to Tani and we actually get his deal then. And he
inner thoughts.
Yeah, and he basically says, well, I thought maybe there was something here. And, I got all excited. Because that's the funny thing. You don't even think about Tanny. Like, did he stay up all night? Was he excited too? And all that. And he's like, well, what's done is done. And he did even say, like, I didn't expect her to come into school, all that. But that's where, when I said earlier, you get that play, that she has never missed a day of school. And it seems like Tani has been there. And that's what he relies on, that every day they had those weird conversations. And it's something that was so important to him that he never let on. He never whatever. But without having her that morning, it was weird for him. Like it just wasn't right. And again, he probably thought then, like, oh, and he says, I thought she wouldn't come to school today because also he is a sad sack a bit. You're playing the idea that he does speak his mind, doesn't fake the funk. But you can tell from this where he's like, well, done is done. That I bet you that night before he just sat there and like, I don't want to get too excited because nothing like this ever happens to me. Nobody ever likes me. Nobody, no girl pays attention. And then when he got there the next day and she wasn't even there, oh, she's not here because she's embarrassed. She doesn't really like me and she doesn't want to come in. She has no idea that she just stayed up all night and overslept and her sus mom didn't wake her up. But when he thinks of that, it's not what you think. He must be just like, he's having some problems here.
Big time.
He says, at some point, talking to her became part of my daily life. A day without her. And he never finishes that deal, but it was like probably a day without her was just horrible. Like she wasn't there. I need to never have that again. But now he thinks he's going to. So this is kind of that layers of, yeah. And again, you want to know what this reminds me of? It's one of those plays where you have best friends and then they decide to finally start dating and then they break up and never talk again. And was that worth dating for, a month when you were best friends and would have been for the rest of your life? And I think that he thought, if we didn't try, like just holding hands, it's that simple, but now it's awkward with us. It's all done. I was actually really counting on talking to her every day and now it's done. But then she comes running up.
Whoa.
And I love this where, again, very cartoony, very over the top, but it fits. You never sit there and think.
Big time.
And again, the art in this, we'll talk about it by the end, but it's good. But it's for what it is.
It's like cute, simple, but like, we've for the big moments, like this splash page, the one page turn
this is
there.
Great.
There's like a couple of real good page turns where it really hits.
Yeah, and I'll tell you at points, you even have, which something that never really in my mind for me comes up in Western comics when we're doing our DC podcast or even indie, Marvel, whatever. It's the idea of how big and important the lettering and the word bubbles are
this
here.
Is huge.
Yeah, it is.
Like the whole page, half that page is the speech bubble.
And even when
that you don't see that in the comic.
No, and even when you go back, the little asides through it and the way that this is played out, because you do have a lot of inner thoughts. So you end up having like these big, like almost like phony, like, yeah, let's go to the King of Burgers. And then right alongside, it's like, I really don't want to go get a burger. I got to keep the status quo. And it really plays out really good with it. But also, as we always say, usually the first chapter is really big on character work and things. This is like full out. That's what it is, the character work. But also the expressions on the characters, the way the emotions play out. Like in that, when she's yelling to him, but one of the bigger ones too is when she's pounding the desk. It's not what you think. And she has this like crazy look on her face and then realizes that Tani's right behind and the whole panel gets dark and she like looks up again. That actually very similar to, say, like a Spy Family. When you end up having, I really like the combination of all the things. And when she ends up, saying, I like Tani-kun and says, is there something wrong with it? You can see she's about to cry. I mean, these things really, really play out. And I love when she yells. And it very, very over the top manga anime-esque deal of like, I like you. And she's screaming, but then realizes, oh God, like I said it, because he turns around and then she looks horrified and says, Tani, but even then, like you have the because she's stuttering, but it's in the upper part. It's really well done. And then she's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for always bothering you with stuff. You're not even, because now she thinks, he doesn't like me. Like, man, I blew it. And she's like, for today, I'm sorry I said that stuff in front of everyone. I just didn't know how to talk to you. I was afraid everyone would find out how I really feel. You know, I'm actually a huge dork, but I want to spend more time with you, Tani-kun. And just look at him. He still looks so sad, right? I'm like, come on, dude.
I think he's more shocked.
Yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, maybe. She's like, and says, when you held my hand, it made me feel so insanely happy. I couldn't sleep a wink. I even overslept. And then she's like, well, I guess I did sleep. It's so funny. I couldn't sleep, but I overslept. And then she says, well, And then he says, Suzuki-san, and then you just they go and say, yeah, I like this. I don't know. I need you to talk to me at all times. Like, I like when you talk to me and it fills up the silence. And that's how much of a dork all these things. And he
says, dork too.
Yeah, is that okay with you?
And he blushes.
Yeah. So the big play is she said, yeah, I'm sorry that I bother you. I'm a real dork. I talk about stupid things, but that's the only way I can talk to you. And then he says, listen, I like you talking to me and I'm a dork too. And then she ends up like Kathy. I don't know if you ever watched or read the Kathy strip. She says, ack. Like they do.
Oh,
and she's like, you look so cute just now. Oh my God. And it embarrasses them. And now it's funny because you have all that and then boom, it's like now everything's fine because she ends up saying something stupid and he ends up doing, she's upset. She's crying and you end up, this is the big play here.
This is huge. We come full circle.
This is where I know that people listening are like, listen to these two guys talking about. These are the things we love.
Like if we're on the same wavelength, dear listener, this is how you know it's a banger.
Seriously, the idea of a manga where at a point we'll say, "Oh my God, the lead character just roundhouse kicked the head off a zombie and won the day." Like, we'll talk about that. We'll be like, man, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
Nothing like this because she's crying and he ends up getting like his hanky out and says, oh my God, you're crying. Oh, watch out. Your mascara, won't it rub off? And
my goodness.
Earlier, she was talking about her mascara to start it out. It all comes full circle because he was listening. It wasn't just her. And she thought, again, she liked him, but she thought it was a one-way street at that point. Like, oh, how about the mascara? How about you there, Tony? What do you go? I don't know much about it, but the whole time he was listening because she talked about the mascara running, and that was one of the problems that you would have having mascara versus the extensions of the eyelashes. She likes the au naturel. But yeah, she says, you were actually paying attention. Again, look at the word bubble and how it's played out is so good. It even goes out of the panel. And then she's like, oh my God, my heart, it can't take it. And then he's all confused. And he's like, why? But it's so good. And then it says, and a lot of the, Jump Plus stuff and whatnot, Don't Blush. I love the little comments at the end where it just says 2 peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod.
Don't Blush, when it did that, was the best when it was about the friends. When the friends would do something and then you'd have a little comment like, friends forever.
Friends like these.
It was so good. Or like, friends surprise you sometimes. When they were in the pool. I remember the one where they were in the pool deal. And the friends sometimes have your back when you don't know it. It was something like that. Yeah, this is pretty good. Again, it's going to be for certain people. It's not going to be, if you're only into, big action and that sort of thing, then you wouldn't like this.
If you're into the wholesome school shenanigans slice of life, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, with all of that, I would say to you, my friend, that I like this a lot more than Rory Dragon. I think that this first chapter...
That's big.
I think that Rory Dragon has a good setup that might be interesting later on. I actually really like these characters. But again, this is like one of the things that when I first started reading manga, a lot of the things that I first started with, like we keep saying Don't Blush Skeme-san, but that was one of them. And these are the things I was like, you know what? This is something where I get enough of the Batmans and the Spider-Mans and, that sort of thing. This is something I never get from at least the big two and the normal deal. So when I do get it, it ends up and it does give me the emotions. It does make me have the feels, and I like having the feels. But, it's hard sometimes. And people would say, well, that's why you have to read more indie stuff or maybe, real indie stuff. But, yeah, this is something that is the reason why I like to read the manga and why we ended up doing this whole deal, because I thought it was a banger.
And if you tell somebody off the street, if you're just walking down Manga Street and you say, oh, hey, we're reading this about this girl and this guy and they're completely different, but then they fall in love. They're like, what the heck? I'm not reading that. But if you read it, you'll understand.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to give it a chance to see how it plays. It plays out different than how you would be able to explain it. Like, even the idea, like some of these, it is funny to try to explain things, but the ones that me and you have really liked, I mean, even stuff like Akane Banashi, that's not exactly a thing easy to explain.
That's a hard sell.
They got the Rococo, they're doing this, but it's
Tell
not
the stories.
It's more about the characters and the emotion.
How are you going to sell Blue Box? They play badminton sometimes.
Don't slip my mouth. I mean,
well, that's a banger.
How are you going to explain that? But
incredible.
It's because it grabs you, and this actually did grab me by the end. So it's that personal deal. It may not grab you, but if it is, then you don't have a heart. You have a black pit for a soul, is what you do.
Jeez.
I mean, and quite frankly, here's my last bit before we give our scores.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see Jim, Luke are nonsense, whatever, you still could go and read this as a one-shot. I mean, by the end, you could just say, okay, that would be like the end of the movie. They get together, maybe we'll have a sequel. You could just say, I'll invest in this one chapter.
You could really see the one-shot original kind of shining through here, because it almost feels like a full package here.
If they did like a 30-minute movie, this could be just this. Banger. You could have it. You could just have it out there. Would be pretty cool. And then the best part is you just get in now, and then later you can brag to your friends that you were cool right away.
Whoa.
No way are me and Luke cool. I mean, seriously, take a look at Luke's sweater collection.
Oh, geez.
Awful. And just the idea that I think you do have a sweater collection already makes you not cool. Right? I mean, nobody cool has a sweater collection.
I'm the coolest cat come winter
Your
time.
Sony PlayStation sweater. Oh my goodness, you were out there just laying it out.
Brand.
We both are wearing glasses. I mean, look at this. And we're talking about manga on the podcast. I'm in my basement. But yeah, there you go. There you go. I did like it. I did like it. What would you give it?
I don't know if I liked it like Rory Dragon liked it. That's
here
big
we go.
Word. Oh boy, I was 10 out of 10 for Rory Dragon.
Easy peasy.
A lot of gems in this, though.
Oh, that's the thing. And so much capacity for them being mean. They could have potentially been not gems, but everybody in the book is a gem. Really has that Don't Blush vibes, when it's a whole world of gems, and we get to visit it every week. Oh,
and you're caught up. I'm actually expecting at points for people to kind of loosen up with the status quo, just like the song from High School Musical, because they all seem very nice and very open-minded. Nobody's judging anybody. It looks pretty cool.
The best thing is, not to spill the beans too much, but slowly but surely, Tani-kun is going to join the group, and they're all going to be best buddies.
Oh my goodness!
It makes Suzuki so happy.
That's the best part of it all.
And you say that to anybody else, and they're like, "Why would I bother reading that?" And it's just the most exciting thing.
I swear to God, I thought, and this is what the best part is of this sort of thing. I thought at the point you were going to say, "Listen to this, Tani-kun. He joins the group and then becomes a real a-hole." And I'm like, because that's what normally would happen. He'd start being cool, and then he'd start being mean. No.
Oh, no.
You're telling me that it's just...
They're all gems.
They're all gems. They go to Gem High School, it's called.
Oh, my goodness. And then they go to King of Burger.
K.O.B.? Yeah, you know me.
K.O.B.
And then they're even like, oh, my God, they're very thrifty. They have coupons for the popcorn.
Whoa. Where did you get them coupons?
Oh, no, the newspaper. Who knows? What would you give it?
I'm going to go 9.5.
Yeah, I'm 9.5 as well.
10,
I'm 5 up. I'm 0.5 up from what I thought Rory Dragon was. I'm going to give it a 9.5. I really, really liked it. I did. So, yeah, everybody check it out. You can check it out on Manga Plus. It's free, legally free. We always have to point that out.
It's not legit.
You're not doing anything sus. You just go. I suggest getting the Manga Plus app, but if you don't want to get that, you can just go to Manga Plus on the web.
Websites.
And if you do end up wanting to know anything about it, it's easy to look up Manga Plus. You'll find it. But on where we host our deal on the Podbean, on like the sidebar, I do have the links to Manga Plus and the Shonen Jump app and things like that all the time, so that you can go check it out, because we'll push that till the cows come home. It's so
every
great.
Day
I mean,
if you twice on a Sunday.
If you are, I don't know who would be listening and not actually already reading some things, but if that ends up, and especially this, how would you stumble onto this without reading something?
But they are hidden gems.
They are.
Everybody knows about the Kaiju number 8 and the Spy Families. Yeah. This is where the real magic happens.
So yeah, this is a banger. I really liked it. Do you know what we're doing next week? So we still have some of the hot off the presses, I believe, right? Isn't there one more left?
We're still chugging along on the hot off the press.
Yeah, I forget which one it was you said. It was the one that you said reminded you of Chainsaw Man, I believe. Is that the hot off the press? Oh, that's next week.
We got something else before that.
I would guess so. And I thought, I see it now. And I hit you and I are polar opposite. Oh,
not that
goodness.
one.
So are you telling me you're being coy with this, or you just don't remember the name of it? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, is it not Make the Exorcist Fall in Love? Is that what we're going to be doing?
Goodness.
Is that next week?
That is it.
Okay, that is next week. I'm looking right now.
It's okay. It's pretty good.
It is not too. Oh wait. How long? Oh gosh, it's a long first chapter. Holy moly, we can't stay up late that day. It's like 75 pages.
No problem.
We haven't had. That's the funny thing when we first started.
We haven't had a long one in a while.
A lot of them were really long at first, and now they really have changed to like
pretty
the
40,
50. I know. It's right in that range. That's the perfect range for us. But yeah, we'll be back with that, and then we have the one that you said would maybe remind people of the Chainsaw Man. With that too, just a little shout out, Chainsaw Man coming back. So everybody should take a note of that as well, especially
for the anime.
Yeah, especially if you have been enjoying, things like us talking about it
on
our reading clubs, one of our favorite ones. And so if you didn't know and you're just listening to this, we have our manga reading clubs from Tuesday to Sunday. We end up having My Hero Academia on Tuesday. Then we go to the Demon Slayers on Wednesday, Jujutsu Kaisen Thursday, Chainsaw Man Friday, Death Note Saturday, and Dragon Ball on Sunday. So we end up, and we're back full out. Luke's off holiday, and we're back to the deal. So with all of that, go over to our, what is it called? Twitter, Weird Manga.
That's it.
Twitter's Weird Manga. Follow us, we'll follow you back. And then go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Science Manga. Get a bunch of the early access Manga Monday and the reading clubs. And also, I'll give a shout out. We also have a YouTube channel where we put some things up now. We're starting to put a little bit more on there. You just look up Weird Science, Manga, and Anime. You'll find it. It's also in the links in the campsite bio. So check that out.
That easy.
All that stuff going on. Easy peasy. There you go. I mean, really. Kiss my grits, everybody. But yeah, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Luke. And we will talk to you next week.